Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. As always, thanks so much for popping in. Love spending time with you. And while I remember, I just need to say hello to all the partners and husbands who listen. And it's so good of you. You listen while your partner, wife, friend is actually crafting and listening to me. So I've had a few messages of you saying that you have got a partner who sits alongside and actually listens. So thank you. So lovely to have you here. Even if you're not into crafting, it's just nice that we can spend some time together. And I do appreciate the fact that you're giving up your time for your loved one. I think we all do it, don't we? I've got to be honest, being married to a football mad husband who he always was. When we started dating, I should have realised because he was doing his FA coaching badge for football, and that took a lot of studying, and I helped him. So I tell you what, I know the offside rule. Anyway, and then having two boys that are into football, and now I've got two grandchildren. Obviously, boys, both into football. So, what can I say? You do support each other. And I love that. Not only do we support each other craft wise, we support each other emotionally. Now, that gets me on to today. We're going to be looking at a design. In the UK, on Sunday, it's Father's Day or Fathering Sunday. Now, before you say to me, Jo, I haven't got a dad, I totally get that. Unfortunately, I lost mine a couple of years ago, and it can be quite a difficult time. So I'm actually going to say this is a man's card, just so I don't want to upset anybody or bring back any sad memories. For me, it's happy memories and it's a happy time, but it's just, I can see that. So I'm thinking this is a male card design, and often I do get asked for cards for males. But even if you think I'm not going to need a male card, there are bits here that you could take. So if I bring the design in, look, the way I've done it is we're going to use that lovely stencil work in the background. That could be a technique you could use on a different card. Possibly stamp a fairy in front. It could be you need a retirement card, or maybe you've actually got a grandchild going on tour. A lot of them do, don't they? They take a gap year. Oh, can you imagine taking a year out and travelling? Do you know what? I could actually do that at the minute. Anyway, I just don't think Eric could cope, do you? So it might be that you like this way that I've used the moon, the stamping and the mask work and the sentiment together. So there will be little bits here, as I say, the beautiful fob watch here. This will be fabulous for any sort of, you could use it for New Year's. Do you make a New Year's card? Going on that time theme, that clock, that celebration. So for me, there are lots of bits that you can take here. And even if you think, Jo, I'm not even going to need a man's or retirement, any of those cards, do you know what? It's an excuse to put your feet up for 5 minutes, unwind, relax, get yourself a brew, a cheeky biscuit, because do you know what? You deserve it. And we all deserve a little bit of a treat every now and then, don't we? Look, I've stamped my envelope to match. And this I've done quite flat. You could decoupage these. I have decoupaged them, but I've put them flat on the card. You could use one of your 3D glues or your foam pads. We've got both on the website. And you could make this raised, especially if you're going to give it. For me, I'm conscious, as you know, of the postage. So that's why mine's flat. So as always, I start with a piece of, this is Multifarious card, 5.5 inches. Now I've already put my line round, and all I do for this, as you know, I've got my piece of copy paper and any of your black permanent markers, and just pop your hand and drag the pen down. I tend to batch do these, so I've got a stock of them in ready. I just find, and if your mojo's gone, you could do worse than just doing that, because it takes your mind off things. It just gives you, or if you've had a bad day, and I know some of you do, I know some of you are caring for loved ones, and when Mike used to have his seizures and you used to have to sit with him, I totally understand, and you need something just to take your mind away. cut yourself some of these, because especially if you've got a pack of 6x6 card blanks, you're going to be needed 5.5-inch square, and just put some lines round, and do you know what, just let your mind wander. Now, the stencil I've chosen, and again, there are lots of stencils that are great for mail cards. I've gone for the red brick. I thought the brick wall. Now, a little tip here, if ever you're stuck for a teenager's card, and for me, I think teenagers can be a bit tricky as well, the brick wall, even with just a happy birthday almost graffiti on top, or some splats of paint, I think it works really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ink to this. Now, this is also a clean-up technique. So if you're actually doing some stencil work, and you know when I always make that spare background and say we're going to use it up, well, today you could actually use up one of those. But for those of you that haven't got the spare backgrounds, this is how you make them. And I'm coming in with oxides for this, just because of the colour combination. And I'm going to use Scorched Timber, Vintage Photo, and Mustard Seed. So I'm going to start by putting the mustard seed over quite a largish area. I would always recommend starting with your lighter colour first. Then some Vintage Photo, and I'm just going to dab that in various areas. I only want it in little bits. And yes, I may get a tiny bit of yellow contamination on there, but that'll be fine. It's better that way round than having the brown on my yellow pad. And then last of all, the Scorched Timber, the deeper colour, and I'll just come in with some brown. And the beauty with this is you never know exactly what you're going to get. Now, water. Now, I'm going to spritz it on my craft mat to start off with. Just a few spritzes, only because the water's now gone through onto my craft mat, and so I can clean that up. So it's nice and clean, and then bring in my piece of card. Now you can either have this at I think we'll have this one at a jaunty angle. My original one, I had it across, didn't I? But for this, so the original one, look, I put it in the right direction. This one, we'll just have a jaunty angle, just so we can see which one we prefer at the end. And then grab myself a piece of kitchen roll and just give that a bit of a... And if you want to have a little peep, look, oh yeah, I'm liking that already. So actually, I'm going to lift that up. Now, we might have enough left on here. So I've got myself another background, piece of card, look. And this time, just a couple of spritzes over Eric, bless him. And we'll see what's left on there. As you know, Eric's my black Labrador, sits under my desk. And I've got to be honest, he likes a spritz. Mind you, he's a Labrador, so he loves water, full stop. He loves the sea. If we take him to the seaside, and the sea helps his arthritis, a little bit of a swim, well, as soon as he literally gets out of the car, and as soon as he can sniff the sea, his nose goes up and he can't wait to just run and get... We can't let him off the lead because he can't run very far until we're right at the water's edge, because he would just run right to that water to get in. Right, so let's see. Oh, I've just dropped my inky binky on the floor. That won't do. Right, pick that up. Now, with the second one, obviously, you never know how much you're going to get. But I always think, do you know what? It's cleaning my stencil, and it could just be a starting point for me. If you haven't got a spare card, maybe do it in your journal. Let's have a look. You see, look how much was left on there. So when you think that was the second... And you see now I've got choices. I'll probably use this one, but I love that one as well. And again, great if you need an emergency card. So we'll pop them just to dry. And then what we're going to do, we need to stamp our lovely Tock stamp. This is the I call it a fob watch. It's probably a pocket watch. Now, somewhere I've got myself, this is a great way of using an offcut. Excuse me, and I'm going to use the black Versafine Clair, the Nocturne. and I want to stamp this and add some colour ready to cut it out. And what this does is also it gives the background time to dry. I could use my heat tool, but as always, backgrounds are better if they dry naturally, especially if you've got something else you need to do. So it's a good time to prepare. Now I want to add, let's give that a bit of a blot. I want to add some colour to this. So what I'm going to do, just to put some background colour, number 3 brush. Now you know I love these. Ink in the lid, and we'll just add, and that's why I blotted it, because I didn't want it to smudge. Just going to add a quick base colour. And we're going to cut it out, look, so I can go over the sides if I want. Just want it a little bit deeper at the bottom. And it's a great way if you quickly want to add some colour. But I want to add a little bit more now. So I'm going to come in with my beautiful watercolour pencils. And I've already got one that I've prepared, and I used these 4 colours. So I know you like to know the numbers. So number 3, 29, 30 and 33. And all I've done is added, I like using yellow with brown. I think it brings out the tones, and almost yellow's my highlight look. And then I've gone in with the dark brown. Again, for me, as you know, I know there's some fabulous colourists out there, and those of you that can do colouring, you know, I think you're amazing. Me, I just do a bit of a cheats. So for me, I think a bit of a highlight, a bit of a shadow, and then I'll come in with a mid-brown and just add some colour. And I'm going over the top of that Oxide. So I've got my base colour with the Oxide. So really, I'm just sort of adding a bit of highlight, a bit more colour. And then all I'll do, I've got my Lavinia watercolour brush. Look, can you see the difference there, look, when I've added the water? Really makes the colour pop. And I'm just going to blend that colour out. And again, always start with the lighter. So start at the top and then bring in a little bit at the bottom, look, and just smudge them colours. And that for me just gives it that. And as I say, I've got one here that I've cut out, because you don't want to see me cutting out. Now, when I was making this design, I wanted to almost give a bit of a sheen. I don't know if you can see the difference between the two. It's not easy on the camera. You know I need a cameraman here with me. But I could use glossy accents, but that would take time for it to dry. Now, I could use clear embossing powder, but in my opinion, when I've done a large area like this with my Versa mark ink pad and then my clear embossing powder, it can crack when it's dry, and this is going in the post. So what I thought I'd do is use my Istress Glaze. But also it gives me opportunity to talk to you about this. I know a few of you've asked, and this is lovely. It's from Ranger, and like it says, it's a glaze. And the reason that Tim sort of designed this was so that what he realised is that when you've got a distress ink, if you want to add more distress ink around it and more water, obviously the distress ink will move, whereas your Versafine is permanent, so that won't. So this is a glaze, so it protects it. So often you can use it to protect the area. So if I wanted to protect this and add some water around it, it wouldn't move, if that makes sense. Now, it's very much like a sort of a lip balm consistency. And the way to put it on is to get a little bit on your finger, and it is a little bit, look, and you just rub it on. You don't need too much. So, as I say, if you've got something and you're worried about protecting it and you want a glaze, this is lovely. It works fabulous on glossy card as well. I don't know if you can see already, but I'll try my best. Can you see the sheen on there? It really does give that sheen. And as I say, you don't need a lot. Fabulous, fabulous product. One thing he does recommend, though, is she says after wiping her finger, is to just buff it a little. So I'm just going to take a piece of kitchen towel and give it a light buff. And what that does is it removes any excess of the glaze, but you'll see you'll still get that lovely sheen. But also now I could add water to this and the Istress Oxide is protected underneath. But it was really that shimmer, that sort of clock face glaze I wanted. So, like I say, fabulous product. But I've got one I've cut out. What I do want to add when I've cut it out is, again, this is the Signo pen and this is the bronze. As you know, I like to use this. I use this quite a lot. And again, great for men's cards. And I just thought, we'll just highlight a bit of, almost give a bit of antique-y look. Right, so I'll put that over there. And by now, our background should be dry. We'll give it a little zhuzh with the heat tool, just to make sure. Again, front and back, keep it nice and flat. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add the moon. And so we're going to come in with our circle mask. And we want the outy bit look. And I'm thinking, we'll put the moon. We want them to overlap sort of in the middle. So I'm going to put it here. As I say, this would be ideal. You could even do this and then add one of the fairies. You know, as I say, just take odd bits of the technique. I'm going to use blue Atoll. And I'm coming in with my large stencil brush. And to be honest, my ink pad, normally I would go to the lid, but this ink pad is well used. I seem to have been in a bit of a blue Atoll phase recently. So I'm going straight in. And there we go. I've got that lovely colour there. I don't want too much, that's enough. And I'll just give that a wipe with my Inky Binky before I put it away. It's so good if you can keep nice and almost clean as you're working. And I'm going to slide that back in there. Now the next bit is, we've got this lovely moon stamp. Now the acetate's so useful here because I want to stamp my lovely fob watch here, don't I? So if you think about it, I need the what's that called? The handle. The is that where you twist it? Do you know, my mind's gone blank. Anyway, you can fill in the blanks for me. This bit, I don't want it over. I want it over the ocean. So you can use the acetate. I don't know about you, but sometimes my mind, these words just don't come. So if I can stamp it almost there, look, then I know I can put my gorgeous Tock here. So that's the idea anyway. Now, you know me, it's one thing telling you how it should be done, but whether we can actually get it, we shall see. I might need you all to sort of hold your breath and we shall see. So I'm reckoning, and I might have to get over the top here. That's the bit we want. Let's just get rid of that bit. I've got a stray bit of ink. Right, so I'm reckoning. Do you know what? I'm going to go for that. Now, if it's not quite in the centre, that's fine. We'll just use it as shadow. Now, again, you can probably stand right over the top. It's not easy for me with recording this to actually stand to look over the top. Do you know what? I'll take that. I'm happy with that. Because I'll come in now with Tock. And we've definitely got a space there where I reckon this will just fit. And it's nice because you have things overlapping, and it's always lovely in designs. They look more of a cohesive design if there's almost adjacent and the overlapping look. So yes, I'm happy with that. What I do want is I want to put a couple of little cogs on there. Now, because I know I'm going to stick that on there, I can stamp them over the top, can't I? So let's come in. Now, these are from Cogs sets. Well, there's 1, 2 and 3. And I must admit, mine are in a bit of a mix. So if you want the cogs, you're probably best just going on the website and, in all honesty, having a look at the different sets. Because mine are just in one, I've got them in one little punch bag together, so that in the beginning I was really good, I've got to be honest, and I put them back on the acetate for sets 1, 2 and 3. But then I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna put them all in one little plastic envelope together. So I'm sorry, that's my bad, but I've got to be honest with this one here, it's keeping hold of it. This one's my favourite, and so you can guarantee this is the one that tends to disappear. I'm going to do second generation down there and a couple more second generation, but I love this one. But you do know that your favourite one's bound to be the one that does disappear. Right, and I love the fact the way these are solid, so second generation just gives it that other, you know, bit of an extra look. And I also like to have a different number this side to this side. I think it just is more appealing, but I don't know if that's just me. Now, I think I'll just add a little bit with my pen, maybe just an odd bit of highlight on a couple of these as well. And the good thing is with stamping this look, when you cut the face out, you just need the actual face. Now, even though I'm going to stick that over there, I want to add a little bit of shadowing around there. Now, I could colour this with my pencils, but what I've found, she says, sorry, Eric, leaning on the floor next to Eric, is if I use these lovely soft pastel pencils, look. Now, I don't know about you, but I seem to use the floor around my craft table more than ever at the minute. So if I just put this on this edge here, look, if I've cut this bit a bit short, when I put that over, you won't see it. But also, just use, this is a biodegradable cotton bud. Just smudge it, it will help. It gives me the shadow, but also, as I say, it just helps colour that bit. Because I know I've done that before. If you don't add colour and then you put something over the top, if you've not quite cut it out properly. So we'll just add a little bit more here. So this is where I'm going to get most shade. And don't worry about fixing this. The fact that we've smudged it will fix it enough. We're not using a large area of pastel, so we don't need to use a spray fixative. Just smudging it is fine for this amount. So let's have a look. So that, you see, when we pop that there, we've got the shadow. And also, if, look, I had cut it slightly, that would be okay. What I've also done, what I do is I keep all my offcuts, as you know. And what I tend to do is stamp them up. Now, this sentiment is from the Words from the Heart set. And this one, Love You to the Moon and Back, and I thought it goes beautifully with the moon. So again, even if you weren't using this bit, you could just use this bit, couldn't you? And add, say, a fairy or an animal, depending on who you were sending it to. You could add our lovely heart and make it into a Valentine's card, birthday card. Again, so many ways you could take it, but I think the moon part and the sentiment, as I say, you could just use that. I've also put the black Sharpie line round. Now, a little tip with this look, I've got to be honest, I've got 2 of these and I always stamp 2 or 3 at once. And why? Because look, sometimes that naughty black pen whizzes. So it just shows you. Every good crafter, honestly, on the back of a piece of work, there may just be one that didn't quite work out. but nobody will ever know. And you won't tell them, will you? Now, what I'm thinking is, those black hearts, I'm just going to add my lovely gel pen over the top. 2 reasons. 1, it just adds with that lovely cohesive design. And 2, I'm not keen on black hearts. I much prefer them with this lovely bronzy colour. Right. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to stick this on, and I'm going to use my Bippity Boppity glue. And what this does is it gives me a little bit of wiggle time as well. Now it does dry clear, so I can get my 12 roughly in the right place, look. But also, as I say, I've got a bit of wiggle time, just so it's exactly as I want it. Happy with that. Now, I want to add some white splats, but I don't want to get it on my sentiment, so I'm going to add that now. And I'm just going to use my posca. If you're not keen on the white splats, obviously just leave these off. I like them, but that's just me. If you don't like them, leave them off. And I'm just going to go right across the whole design. I want a couple on the cogs. Again, posca pen, acrylic paint inside. Always give it a good shake. So now I can add my lovely sentiment. And again, I'm going to use the Bippity Boppity glue. I just want to make sure I pop the lid back on. Now again, I've got a little bit of wiggle time. Now this you could, if you weren't posting it, you could raise it up on foam pads. That would look lovely. Now I just want to make sure it's straight again. I've got a bit of wiggle time. So I'm thinking there. And I like it over the moon. You could be tempted to put it, but I just wanted the whole area in the middle to look nice. So when I made the design, now you could stop here if you wish, but I just fancied adding a couple of our lovely little, especially we got the vintage sentiment stickers. So I'm thinking, I've got Ponder. I like Ponder. Now, when I came to add these, in all honesty, I thought, oh, I wish I'd done it before I decoupaged that, I glued that down. But I thought, well, no need to worry, because look, I just snip that little corner off. And then that one there. And if I just put that there, look. Let's check it straight. So nobody knows now. If you look, that looks like it's underneath. So there's always way around things. Right, what should we go the other side? Let's have a look. Love You to the Moon and Back, Pond. I'm thinking time related. Ooh, how about... So, oh, memories. I like memories. Memories doesn't want to come off. There you go. Thank you. So I'm going to think, I'm thinking putting memories here. So maybe just, if I whiz that little corner. Pop memories there. And then Once Upon a Time, look. I think, again, with using the clock face. And Once Upon a Time, I'm going to put... Right, let me have a look. I could put it there, look, but I think that's too... I think it needs to be following this. So I'm going to pop that across there. So like I say, you could even use just this little part. Now, what I'm going to do is I kept my pastel pencil here, look. Because I've got the shadowing round there, I'm just going to add the shadowing to my lovely sentiment here. So I'm going to go, I love to use the right-hand side and underneath. And give that a good smudge. and you'll be amazed the difference this makes. If you're not sure about it, one little tip, take a photograph before you add the pastel pencil and then take a photograph after and look at the difference. For me, I think that instantly pops now. So we'll just do it on these as well. So the right and underneath, the right and underneath. Again, right and underneath. So just give that a smudge. Last one. Now to me, that instantly pops those. And in fact, I think I just want a tiny bit more under there. Yeah. And I think that really now we've got so many different layers here in depth. So it's all flattish. I mean, obviously we haven't, although we've added the card on top, which in theory is decoupage, and we've not raised it much. But it looks like there's a lot more depth there. And I just think that is lovely. And as I say, you could use any little part of it. So if I bring in the original, now I'm not sure which way I like the wall, which of the two. And it's interesting, obviously there's more water here, look. But here there's less. I mean, look at the actual, I love this bit here, look. So as I say, you never get exactly the same thing twice, but it is such a fun thing to have a go at. So thank you for spending time with me. I do hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope there's part of it that you can take and use. And if you put a picture on social media, please tag me in so that I can have a look at what you've done. After all, we're here to inspire and help each other. So you take care. Thank you for watching. And as always, thank you for your lovely comments. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.